Hey, everybody, welcome back. We had a very unique weekend at Heroes, which we'll be probably talking about later this week on the CAF update. But it's good to have everybody here. Some of you we probably saw while we were there. Those of you who weren't there, we missed you, and hopefully we'll see you at another show. Before we get started today, I was doing some work in the YouTube admin, and the interesting thing that I saw was that today, of all days, is the 6th anniversary that the channel was created. So I don't know if Sharon could bake us a cupcake or something like that and send it along, but yeah, there's that. So, but yeah, we're doing the Heritage Signature Auction preview for June, and it is stacked. But the one thing it does not have is a single John Byrne X-Men page, and Joe is here to tell me why that is. How is that even possible, Joe? It seems like every signature auction we've had the last couple of years, I mean, shoot, the last 2 or 3 years that we've been doing these things, there's always been John Byrne X-Men page.
Well, people are spoiled. I think maybe in the last sale it sold for like $400 less than the previous sale, and people go, "Oh, the market's crashing," and I'm not going to part with anything, even though the prices are through the ceiling. So, it's just ebb and flow.
I get it. Well, I mean, I wasn't disappointed. It just gives me one less thing that I have to focus on and talk about, which is always good. But yeah, like, I said it. You said it in the green room too. I mean, other collectors are talking about it. There's just, with over 900 pieces of art in the signature auction, and there's just it's stacked. There's so much good stuff. There's not a an average piece in the bunch that I went through about 85% of it today, just trying to see if there was any holes in the selections that you made. Couldn't find any, but there's just one good example after another. There's two Daredevil Wally Woods with first Stiltman in it. Both pages are great. It's one thing after.
And also, then you have the Daredevil 5 pages that are in
Right.
there as well. And one thing I think we're going to have to do is, like, for instance, I mean, like you mentioned, the Wallywood pages. Maybe I featured one and said, "Hey, there's three in the sale. You can go up to the top and show the other pages." But the same thing. I mean, we have early Mad artwork that you never see complete stories. From King Kong, from Little Orphan Annie, and I mean these are very early things, and it's loaded with EC art. I only highlighted one or two and say maybe let's go to it, and it shows a lot of different artists as well. It's not just Bill Elder, not just Wallywood, not just Jack Davis. I mean it's all over the place. So yeah, people are going to have to take that. I mean, I know they do this anyway, but go through the sale. I know you're not going to be disappointed with this one.
Right. No, not at all. And I also noticed a lot of underground pieces that are pretty spectacular as well. Something that I'm not used to seeing necessarily in the signature auction since like the Dennis Kitchen sale. But there's some really unique pieces in this
I
auction.
doubt I even highlighted
I
one.
don't think you highlighted one of them. I should have picked those. I went
Yeah,
going through, but
well,
yeah, and it's cool because I've been watching the indie and underground market a little bit closer the last year, and it's very interesting to see the prices of some of the pieces that where they're ending. Like I actually threw a bid on a Spain Rodriguez page in the last Wednesday auction, not knowing the market at all. I didn't do any research, but I thought I threw a decent bid in there, and it ended double where I was at. But so that just tells me I didn't do enough research. But the thing is, there's just really cool, interesting stuff that's hitting the market that continuing to hit the market that is good for everybody.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
Well, why don't we got a lot to look at, and we're starting off with the big one, the Frazetta that everybody, a lot of people are very curious about, and it's not the only spectacular Frazetta in this auction, but it's a truly classic piece and a very memorable one.
Yeah, you can't say enough about this page. Before we begin, I know normally you ask me when is
Oh, I
the
skipped that,
auction.
didn't I?
The whole auction begins, and that's the comic books are on the first day. That's June 26th at 12 o'clock Central. And then the art, once again, the platinum begins the following day. at 11 a.m. Central. So as opposed to 12 from the day before, it's 11 a.m. Central Time, and it's June 27th. And then it goes right from Platinum to the floor items. And then we skip a day, and then on the 29th, we have all of the floor, the non-floor items. That's what we call them, non-floor items, where you have the Robo Auctioneer, and that's on Sunday, and that begins at 11.
Thank you for reminding me of that, Joe.
No problem.
I need to put a slide up for that going forward to kick things off. It would be very helpful. But yeah, so back to this piece though. I mean, would
Let
you
me
ever
tell you a little bit about
this?
some insights that maybe people don't know. So, these were some of my favorite pieces, of course, like everybody else's. And when I used to go visit Frank, they had every single cover when I first went. So I got to see them all, one next to another. And I would ask Frank about it, and he would tell me that he loved to experiment at this point in his career. So if you actually take the time, and if you can find black and white images, as you can see in some of the Underwood books, the Legacy and Icon, you'll notice that he uses a different technique on every cover. Like the one that's underwater is very feathery. He's using very, very light, watered down inks, and he's using this feathery approach. Then in the cover before this one, 213, where there's that monster coming into the ship, and you see him in silhouette and his leg coming forward, and Buck Rogers is crouched down. That was him doing Wally Wood. Wally Wood was, getting all these accolades for his ability to ink and to do the equipment and the machinery. And if you look, that's what's all around. So he's doing Wally Wood, better than Wally Wood at that point. In the next cover, he had never used craft tint, and Williamson, and Frazetta was a very competitive guy. If somebody was getting accolades for doing something, he had to prove that he could do the same thing, only better. So, he's doing Wally Wood. Then those guys are using craft tint, and he says, "Here, I'll do craft tint. Take a look at this." And if you look at the other covers, there's no craft tint whatsoever, nothing that looks like. And then he does this. It's unbelievable.
So he said that though, that he just wanted to keep pushing it, and anything was new, he wanted to put something out that was more masterful than the last piece. I know, and the thing is, looking at this, I mean, it's craft tint right away, but the things that he just used it so masterfully, as far as using the shadow on the moon, and then he goes in and does cross hatching without removing it on the ship to kind of hide. He's playing back and forth between a medium that is meant to be kind of abused in a way to use it to create depth in it, and he's using that, and then he's layering on Frazetta techniques that just make it so much more spectacular than other pieces that are done using craft or similar.
Look at the shine on the back of the back up to the back of the ship, and look at the look at that's Wally Wood right there. You see all of that line work going right around the ship, and how it circles, and the darks and the light. I mean, he mastered it in the previous one, and then he comes back here, and you look at this, and George Lucas was at his house and looked at that and said, this is inspiration. That was an inspiration for the Death Star, allegedly. Do I know for sure? This is what I was told by Frank. I mean, and then his ability look at the creature that he creates there, and it's just amazing what he did. Another quick little story. I used to go there, and this hung right outside the kitchen as you were walking into the kitchen before it was ever in the museum. And I used to stop and look at this every single time. And then Frank one day, after years, said, I noticed you always stop and look at it, that piece, yet you've never made me an offer on this piece. And I said, I never made you an offer because I told you from the beginning, if I represent somebody, I don't want a conflict of interest. So, as much as I love it, I don't ever want somebody to say, hey, was it worth more or is it not? Rather avoid the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he says, well, if you were going to make an offer, how much would you offer? Now, this is in the 80s. This is in the mid 80s. No paint, no Frazetta, as far as I knew. At that point, it sold for more than $60,000. I offered him $150,000 cash, and he says, "I said I'd give you $150,000." And he immediately said, "Oh, if you're offering me $150,000, you must have it sold for $250." You're such an SOB. I'll never make
You
you
just went out
another.
on a limb for him. You made him a respectable offer, and for the time, and he still he thought you had some other motivation. So I get it, but the thing is, if it's hanging in the hallway beside the kitchen, he must have really enjoyed looking at it. I mean, I would assume he didn't hang at that point in time before the museum. He didn't hang everything that he had worked on, right? I mean, this had to
No,
be something special.
his two favorites were this, and of course the one on the cliff, the weird science fantasy,
Of course.
and those were his two favorites. I mean, but from pure sci-fi, this is the ultimate one. Yeah, I don't know. What's it at right now?
I didn't look. It's 370, 444.
Yeah,
With
I'm betting it's going to pass $1 million, but we'll see.
It will be interesting to see. I mean, I guess I'd have to go back and do some research, but well, okay. I'm not even gonna guess where this thing's gonna end. But what's the size on it, though? I guess that'd be the only thing I'm curious about. I didn't
Oh, it's
read.
big. This is large.
Let's see. Oh, 20 by 26. Wow,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that's like almost double the size of a modern page.
I think George Lucas should pick this one up and put it in the, in his museum, and verify the fact that it inspired him to make add the Death Star. Now that would be a very fitting, place for this piece to wind up.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't comment on such things.
Well, we as collectors can dream and guess. But okay, Ditko. Now there's a few Ditkos in this auction. They're all.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, I might have three distinct Ditkos in this.
Mhm.
Doctor Strange, a great interior page, but this sale has more Ditko than we've seen in a long time. Outstanding interior pages, and I mean, how often does a splash page come up? So
Not often, nor a title page like this one.
yeah,
So this is to issue 25.
yeah. Uh, yeah, double size, 1965, absolutely peak period. Ditko had already switched over from almost exclusively using a pen and ink to using both. I mean, look at the difference in the way the figures, the vignettes are drawn, where he's using a pen, very fine, and then how the robot and Spider-Man are drawn, where he's using a brush, and that's what's giving Spidey that flowing look that he came to be known for. I love that fluidity, and Spider-Man started to get that full-bodied look, which of course Romita perfected. So it's a Spider-Man splash. There are only a handful have ever come on market, and almost all, and there's 5 or 6 that have never even been, maybe more than Amazing Fantasy 15, of course, is in the Library of Congress, so we don't even know where a few of these are and if they still exist.
Very true. So all the lettering is on the board too, right? With
Yep.
Spider-Man logo in the
Very
upper.
distinctive, lettering, part of it by Ditko. And of course, up almost all the main characters that appeared in the strip up to this point.
Very nice. And that one's at 110 without buyer's premium.
Yeah. I mean, if this sells under 400,000, I'd be surprised.
Right. And look at Steve Ditko's getting props for coming up with the plot for that story.
Yeah, this is where, some of the animosity began to build up, where, they're using the Marvel method. For those that don't know, was, prior to Marvel losing their distributorship and having to cut their staff to bare bones, everybody used full scripts. So DC at this point, for instance, and a script would be written panel 1, this, and it would describe exactly what was in panel 1 and the dialogue. Panel 2, this, panel 3. So describe every panel on every page and have it all plotted out so it would end. So obviously the artist's job was to just start drawing from panel 1 and finish the book. Well, Stan did not, if he's doing every book himself, basically, he did not have time to do that. So he would give the artist a basic synopsis of the storyline, and then the artist had to plot out the book, come up with the characters, come up with everything. So in effect, the artist is co-writing the book. So it's obviously a lot more work. Ditko was a man of principle and did not appreciate that he wasn't getting paid for this. And so he kept complaining to Stan, and Stan said, okay, and so to appease him somewhat, he gave him, does it say here, plotting?
He dreamed up the plot of this tale.
Yeah. So he gets plotting credit, meaning he's a co-writer. And whether he got paid more or not, I don't think so. But him and Kirby kept getting promised. Marvel was up for sale at that point. And when it was going to be sold, they would get taken care of. They might get part of the characters. They might, all these grandiose promises. Marvel gets sold, and they got nothing. And that's when both Ditko and Kirby decided, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story behind the scenes.
Well, it's a nice page, and I agree with you. 400,000 would be, the right spot for this one. Now you put this one as your third pick for tonight. It's an X-Men cover. Sylvestri in green, of course, from issue 236. A lot of people are very fond of this era of the book. It's from '88. And
yeah, I think you're saying it correctly. You always say it correctly, but this has a lot of nostalgic interest to a lot of people because it was prime period. Personally, I think Mark Sylvestri is underrated. If you ask the Image guys at that point who was the best artist, they always point to Sylvestri as being, he could draw anything. He didn't go for the big, the Rob Liefeld, large figure or the big pinup pages, but he was more, shall we say, traditional. But he could do everything, and this is the beginning of the run. Later, as he got better and better, more into the title, he became one of the most beloved artists of the run.
I'd say any X-Men collector who likes that era doesn't have enough Sylvestri. They will all publicly admit it. I wasn't reading, but I picked up a few pages over the years, and they're great. Dan Green inks.
Yeah, and Rogue, of course. So I mean, I don't know why I put this as the third one. At the time, it was probably the third highest. I mean, this jumped out price-wise quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or bid track. I told you, I go back and forth and I look at popularity. Sometimes they don't match up the price with the interest.
Well, it's an uncanny cover, so always going to be on somebody's want list.
Yeah.
Now, a Watterson.
This is a historic piece.
Yeah. It's really nice, and it's no surprise that where is it at 80,000, 96 with the buyer's premium already. I mean, there's not many of these out on the market, and uh, this is one of everybody's favorite characterizations, you know, from the strip, right? I mean, I'd want him like this if I could have him.
Everybody loves Spaceman Spiff.
Yep.
This is the 12th day of the whole strip. Not of just Spaceman Spiff, but of the strip period. So this is the earliest known example that's ever come out. And as many people might be aware, Watterson has pledged his whole collection to Ohio State. So the only things that are going to be on the market are things that are already, which are just a handful of things like this, something that was gifted to fellow artists. This was gifted to Jim Boardman and his family. Boardman, for those that don't know, was an editorial cartoonist at the time, and then eventually created Zitz. So he was an early fan of Watterson and vice versa. So he hand colored this for him and gave it to him as a gift.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, again, they're so rare to see, and if this is so, this was in his collection ever since it was gifted to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you haven't noticed, we've been auctioning examples from his collection, the Zitz.
Yes. Oh yeah. It wasn't. Yep. But no, this is special.
Yeah. So I would love to have this piece.
You would? So would I. And I have to say this, Joe. I actually bid on two pieces in this. I mean, I'm not going to win them, but I was like, you know what? There's a couple nice pieces in here. I've got to leave my virtual mark on a couple of them. So I won't tell you which ones they were, but I did just for the fun of it. And one, I'm actually the high bidder at the moment. So it was just. I figure, why not?
Well, I would put in a bid on the Frazetta and say, I put in a bid on the Frazetta. I'm telling you right now, I think it's going to sell for where it is.
I don't want to risk that.
Why not? And this one, I don't see how this could sell for under 200,000. But again, stranger things have happened. But this is going to go.
Now, have you made it to the Billy Ireland Museum yet?
Not since I went very early on because I did an appraisal there, but I haven't been. I understand that the new building looks fantastic.
It is, yeah. You've if you ever make a trip out towards that university, you got to go. I mean, it's only open, I think, Monday through Friday, but it's amazing. And if you give them advance notice, you can look at all the Wattersons you want.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
All right, what do we got here? We have a McFarlane Spidey 311 cover with Mysterio on it, classic image.
Now, I know this was on the market, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. It was on the market, but we haven't sold a McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man cover in nearly a decade. So they don't come up. And this has his extreme perspective, really close cropped. You got the hand, you got the expressive hands, you got the Spider-Man's face, you got all the super detail. So, and you have that really as a reflection in Mysterio's helmet. So you got the villain, you got Spidey. What's not to like about this?
Not a whole lot. He's got all the trademark McFarlane you'd want in here. The big eyes, the really tight webbing on him. It's great.
Yeah.
I'll see. Alberto says he wants. Alberto wants some spaghetti webbing all over it, I guess. But the battle's just beginning, right? They don't want to give it away in any way, Alberto. That Spidey might have the upper hand.
I've gotten to know Alberto a little bit, and when you're dealing with him directly, he's a a much nicer guy than he is on these things.
Oh, Alberto's always very nice. There's Marcus on the other hand, you never know, right? But Alberto, he's a gentleman all the time, I think.
Well, but you see here, he'd like more. It's always a little bit more. It's never enough.
There's never enough Captain America in the auctions. That is true.
Just for him, I featured a Zeck Captain America later.
I know. I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah.
But so I was going to say the same thing. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these covers offered by really anybody. So I think this is it's going to be cool to see where it ends up.
Mm-hmm. It's over. How much is it? It's over $100,000 now. Oh, I thought right off.
Yeah, 105.
Yeah.
This isn't one that I bid on. And actually, none of the ones we look at today will be one that I've bid on.
Yeah.
So Watchmen page, always going to be in demand.
Things up. I mean, you could go down the path here of all very similar items because there's a lot of high-priced items in the sale. So, yeah, can you go wrong? Talking about a new Watchmen page that hasn't been on the market for. I mean, once again, we got an Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons page, and this has a real turning point in the storyline.
Yes, it is. You got Rorschach on it, and that's what everybody wants if they're getting a Watchmen page.
And Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Together. So you get the comedian, Dr. Manhattan, and Rorschach, as well as Adrian Veidt. So, this is the only time in the entire series that they use the term Watchmen.
Interesting. But yeah, no, that's a nice one. It's a 9-panel layout. Again, it's got all the the things that you'd really want out of a page from Watchmen. See, Alberto's telling me I could place a $125,000 bid on Heritage on some pieces, knowing that I'm going to get outbid, just like you said, Joe. Yep.
Yeah. There's two ways to bid, and some people don't realize it. You could place a bid, and it becomes. Let's say you were really interested in getting a piece that's like that McFarlane, and you said, "Hey, bidding strategy." Some people don't want to bid at all because they don't want to tip their hand, but other people who are not sure if this goes beyond their budget, how do I know that and can now focus in on something else? So sometimes people will put in a bid of 150, which would be their max. Mm-hmm. and see if they might be outbid immediately. So then they know they can go somewhere else, right? On the other hand, it's a max bid. So if you're outbid, you're outbid. If you bid using the live, the red button saying only bid live in the auction, it will not be reflected in the price immediately. So, for instance, if the price is at 100 and you bid 150, the price will not jump to the next, above the next person in there. Mm-hmm. It only will go in during the auction.
So, would I be allowed to place a $150,000 bid right now if I wanted, or do you have to go through some approval process? Are there threshold limits to placing high bids? Do you have
what happens is that everybody basically gets a credit limit when they begin. We don't. Mm-hmm. They don't advertise, but they have information. And then, like, say, if you did placed $150,000 bid, and that's 10 times more than you've ever bid before. Whoever is your representative at Heritage, like say it was me, I will get a text saying, Bill Cox just put in a bid of $150,000. Do you think this is legit, or do you want to contact the client? It could be a mistake. It could be, what's the explanation? And sometimes people will put in, $400,000 in bids, but they'll do it on the Frazetta by one bid.
They're spreading it around.
Yeah, and it'll be a minimal amount, and you say, well, no, basically those are tracker bids because there's almost no chance.
You guys know the patterns.
Yeah.
but there isn't anything that would stop me from doing that. But you have checks and balances systems. Like I know that you're not my rep. Madalena is the guy. At least whenever I get an email from Heritage that has some kind of PR base, Madalena's photograph is like at the top of it. So I'm assuming he must be the guy assigned to me. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
I could ask him to
I
switch
would
me
have
over to
thought
you
that
though,
you
Joe.
were Barry, so you know, but because you deal with him as far as the sponsorships and everything like that, but
Right.
you can deal with me if you want. Don't worry.
All right, good. Maybe I'll make a formal request for that. So Erik Larsen, right?
Yeah, we haven't
Some
seen,
Spidey stuff here.
for a while there. Remember when, every auction we had one and they were going higher and higher and higher. I mean, and kept making new records. And then all of a sudden they seemed to stop. So this is the first one we've had in a while that I remember. And it's a double page Spider-Man splash. And you talk about the amount of work in this one.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of characters. There's a lot of detail in this one. Some well-placed Zipatone there on Ghost Rider's bike. Yeah, this is it's beautiful. And you're right. There hasn't been a lot of Larsen Spidey hitting the market of late. So then you get something like this that's really, really well done.
Yeah. This is the return of the Sinister Six, of course. So you have, the great storyline along with Ghost Rider. So yeah, another Image guy that in his Marvel career, we've talked about it before. Those are the people that are in high demand. And Eric's one of the great guys. I mean, this guy he made all his deadlines. He's a professional, and every piece that I see, there's no shortcuts in any of his work.
No, well, this is a really nice one. Somebody will be very happy to add this one to their collection.
Yeah.
Now we have a color piece next. P. Craig Russell.
Again, just to shake things up, I'm happy to say that after 20 years of trying to deal with P. Craig Russell, I actually have begun to deal with it. All of a sudden, he decided he wants to part with something and said, "Hey, Joe, do you think you'd like? What do you think? An Elric cover?" Wow. Okay. And so we have this is his. Many would consider his magnum opus, Elric. Penciled, inked, and painted by Craig. He even sent me a video. His agent is a very, very nice guy, and he's excellent at filming. And if you go to the listing, you'll see a video of him looking at the video and then discussing how this all began, the exact piece. And it was done so well and so professionally. I asked him if I could embed it, the exact, and he said, sure. So there he is.
Wow.
Interesting background there. This Elric was created by writer Michael Moorcock first in 1961. So, this is when people were looking for something, in the Conan vein and sword and sorcery, and there was very little on the market. So Moorcock comes up with this character, and it takes place on an alternative Earth. And Craig will say that he had never read it. When as soon as he read the story, he said, "No, this is worth doing. I want to, be involved in this from the beginning." So, first appeared in Marvel graphic novel number 2. So again, this is a historic piece.
Right, and well, it's amazing that he held on to it for 45 years, right? Yeah. Now, I've always loved his stuff. I mean, it seemed like he kind of came into comics, or at least came into the scene of creators around the time of the studio, and seen a few photographs when he was super young, hanging out with those guys or getting seen with those guys. And so, I mean, he's his style to even today is very similar to this. I mean, you know a Russell when you see it, but it's pretty nice to see this. I really really love his work.
Yeah, and if you go up, you'll see the splash page from the book, which is also in full color, is also in the film. It immediately follows. Yeah, see that?
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. We also have a P. Craig Russell Kill Raven cover in the auction. I think I actually have that highlighted. But yeah,
Was that from him as well, or?
Yeah, no, only these two.
Okay.
So this is his line work is he loved all of those great illustrators. I mean Barry loved the Pre-Raphaelites, and each one had their own influences, but he does a superior job.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
God Loves Comics wanted confirmation the Kill Raven is early P. Craig Russell.
Yeah.
Cool. Now this one's it's already at 300,000, or without the buyer's premium, so 360 otherwise. But and I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume anything. What's the size on this one? So of course it's a Frazetta. So about 16 by 20.
Yeah, it's standard. It's what is the size?
16 by 20.
Yeah. This was the interesting part about that. That's the way it originally was published. So this is originally a cover for Sci-Fi paperback, Dancer from Atlantis, 1971. The story is set in the future, but interestingly enough, it draws on Greek mythology, and so like it's in the future. It's almost like an alternate reality type of thing, but it draws on Greek reality. And in the book, there is a bull dancer. So if you ever go to a museum, you see how a Greek vase has the bulls, and the athletes are supposedly jumping over the bulls and performing with them. So in the story, there is a quote unquote bull dancer, a person that leaps over a live bull, and that's what was thought to be in ancient Greece a sporting event. But as was his custom, when Frank got the piece back, he had to have her covered up. He had to make it a little bit more sedate. He reworked the piece, and to make it him. And this is what he did with so many of his great paintings. They started out one way, but then when he revised it, he turned it to his unique vision.
Yeah, that's interesting. But we know he did that, right? He did it quite often.
Oh yeah. I mean, Egyptian Queen, Cat Girl. You go on. Many of the Warren covers, many of his paintings are done that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one's beautiful. Be interesting to see where it winds up too.
And this is, because of, for whatever reason, it's a more affordable Frazetta. I think this is not going to be a $5 million Frazetta. I don't think, it should sell in the 350 range, maybe 400, somewhere in that range.
Well, it's already at 360 with the buyer's premium.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good opportunity myself.
Well, we'll see. And there's some Johnny Comets. I think there's a few other.
Oh, there's a ton of drawings. And
there's other Frazettas that are very very attractive as well in this auction. Now Zeck, Secret Wars 3 cover.
Have a nice Johnny Comet or a romance page. I tell you what, if you have this painting, I'll trade you a Johnny Comet for that painting.
You will?
That's the kind of guy I am.
It better be a really good Johnny Con. Right.
Well, Rich says this. He
Oh,
says,
is that? Oh, you'd
"Sure,
rather
I'd
have a
rather
nice.
have a nice Johnny Commodore Romance page."
I see. Well, Rich, come on, Rich.
I, that, you know,
I
it's
get
no
it though.
problem.
To each their own, right?
Of
Some people
course.
prefer the pen and ink work of Frank to his
Yeah,
painted work.
yeah, no problem.
Yep, absolutely. So back over to this: Spidey fighting the X-Men in Secret Wars
Yeah, I
issue
decided
3.
to then change it up again. So, Secret Wars 3, everybody knows Secret Wars, the first of these event kind of series. When that came out, back in the early 80s, the anticipation was enormous. And here you got the X-Men fighting Spider-Man. So, from a content point of view, here's Spider-Man fighting Wolverine and the X-Men, and on the one cover, um, Rogue, Professor X, Storm, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Colossus, Spidey, Wolverine, and it's got it all.
Well, it is very nice, and obviously, Cyclops he's got bad aim today, but he
But at
can't
least
defeat
he's alive.
Spider-Man. Exactly, exactly. Uh, but no, this is great, and I'm sure there's. I mean, this for me it was memorable. I didn't know why I needed to get so interested in Secret Wars. I mean, there was enough. They did enough advertising in the comics leading up to it, but it was just like you had to keep buying them. Everybody was going to buy a copy of these.
Yeah. I mean, and you want something that's emblematic of the period, and that's always going to be recognizable. It's one of these covers. Period.
There you go. Now, earlier I had mentioned that Alberto is a very nice man, but now look
Yeah.
at that. He says that his Zeck cover is better because it doesn't have Cyclops on it. All right, you've just been reduced a little bit there on the fandom level for me, Alberto. Sorry, you're dropping, but this is a very nice piece.
Yeah.
Where are we going to from next? Oh, well, look at this. Wolverine's still fighting Spider-Man. Now they're in a graveyard, and it's the classic Spider-Man versus Wolverine #1 cover.
Yeah. That's why I followed that cover with this cover. And of course, poor Mark Bright, passed away, I think last year, tragically, very young. And this may be his most memorable cover, Marvel
Mhm.
cover. It was only a one shot, but you're getting Spider-Man and Wolverine at their most popular period. So, Mark passed away March 27th, 2024.
Wow. Well, I would say easily this is probably his most well-known cover.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people. Oh, I remember that. I remember that book. Oh, I remember that book, and that's why. What's the price on this already?
40,000 with the buyer's premium.
That's a lot of money for a Mark Bright book, but it's all about the.
Well, there's a couple collectors who've been picking up interiors, the last 5 or 6 years. So there's fans of this book. I mean, it's probably one of the early memories from guys who were buying books in the late '80s. So if you're a Spidey and X-Men fan or Wolverine fan, I mean, what it's it's a pretty special cover.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
And talk about things that don't turn up. Ditko, Doctor Strange page, penciled and inked by Ditko. There have been pages that turn up that are inked by somebody else, but Ditko on Ditko, Prime period and the ancient one, clear, dormant, Dormammu, you got it all.
Yeah, no, this is beautiful. And it's funny, I've seen pages of his later in his career. And it's funny, the stuff inked by him, it's like the same, almost the exact same feel, just maybe the line weight's a little heavier or something, but his style, just was so consistent throughout the years. I love this page.
It's unmistakable.
Yeah.
And, you just look at it, it has, anybody, if you aren't familiar with Ditko or the character and you open a Doctor Strange story, I mean, immediately this magical, ethereal look, nobody can do it better than him.
Yep. No, I agree. Yeah, this is every panel on this thing is fantastic. I love it.
What's the price on this?
It's at 23.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll bid on this one. Significant amount.
Right. Oh man, all right. Next up, here we go. We got Paul Smith X-Men page from issue 172. I'm going to refresh just to see if it's changed at all. No, it's still at $60,000. And
go ahead. I'll let you talk about this because I wasn't really sure I should cover this one, but
well, it makes me wish I'd bought a Paul Smith X-Men a few years ago. But at the end of the day, this is an end page too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. You get Wolverine in it. It's Paul Smith's run was so short on this book, but so memorable for a lot of people. I think a lot, people who were coming into the X-Men in the like the 140 issues and whatnot. I don't think they were too impressed with Cockrum's work, even though I love that era stuff, right? But if people who are new to the book, they'd probably love the stories and probably thought Cockrum was just maybe not the best artist, which I would completely disagree with. But then you get Paul Smith kind of rolling in, and the style has a manga feel to it. He's just just doing things that we haven't really seen before, and he just drew the characters in such a way. I mean, I'm looking at this for me. I mean, it's a absolutely lovely page. But the thing is, $60,000. It just shows how little I know about the market. I mean, I know these pages are really sought after, right?
Well, let me stop you. What?
Okay, stop me right there.
Page, there is a well-known collector who has gone public, and that's
about this issue.
Reason I'm saying this, that he's trying to put the whole book together.
There you go.
And, when you do that, one of two things happen. People can either come to your side and say, hey, I've got a page from that. I think that's great, and I'll do it. Or some people will say, well, wait a minute. No. And go to battle on everything. So, I suspect when, that kind of explains why the price jumped to where it did. So it'll be interesting to see where it ends up.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, then I'm. I think I know who the person is, but still, these pages are so hard. They don't come to market too often. Paul Smith's work, and even if this wasn't something that somebody's trying to complete an issue on it, it's still remarkable, where that market's at. I mean, there are pieces that are rivaling, Cockrum pages from the run, 20, 25 issues before this one that, are more desirable for me. I want a Paul Smith. I probably never will be able to own one. But yeah, the thing is, I get it. I get it because anybody who was buying X-Men books at this period loves Paul Smith.
Well, I mean, let's not dwell too much on it, but the thing that I found was, having lived through it, for those of us that did, everyone thought that when Cockrum and Byrne were going to be off the book and they were putting a new guy on, I mean, that was traumatic. And yet sales did not suffer. So, those were not easy shoes to fill, and he was the first guy that had to face that.
Yeah, no, very true. Well, the storylines were great. They sent them to space. They fought. The Starjammers came in. There were just so many. It was a short run, but they really amped up the storylines, I think, and that helped out a lot too.
Okay.
All right. Now here's a classic cover from
Yeah,
Captain Marvel 33.
yeah. This is an early appearance of Thanos and the first cover to feature him as a full body shot. And this is before, he would be the Thanos that, of the popularity that he is today. So, it's a galactic. It's one of those cosmic books, of Captain Marvel and of course Starlin of that period, and so this was the culmination of the Thanos War storyline as well. So you're getting a very memorable, very historic Starlin cover here.
Yeah, I mean it's already at 75.90 with the buyer's premium. So
Amazing.
yeah, I mean no surprise though. I mean the it's such a classic image. Thanos doesn't skip leg day, says Jason. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, for those Star Wars fans, right? This is from issue 4
Yeah.
in 77.
Yeah, people think that the first run was all done by what's his name,
Howard.
Howard. Yeah, Chaykin, and actually, I think we offered the cover of number 5 not long ago, but this is never been on the market. Uh, very very memorable, iconic cover. Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, all featured on the cover. Um, Holberg confirmed to us that this was indeed inked by Giacoya, which also makes it a little bit unique. And he explained there's no lettering on it, as I've drawn it on my own 2-ply bristle at a size larger than the standard marble stock. Roy Thomas needed more room at the top, so the final cover was done using a stack. But that's why you get a unique, very clean cover without any glue stains or anything on it, and it's larger than it would normally be. So you're getting more art for your money.
Wow, no, it's great. I mean, come on, a great image of Darth Vader on this one.
Yeah. This is like, one of the classic Kirby covers, where, Doctor Doom looming over the landscape, type of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So do you reach out to the artists often for clarification on stuff like
When
that?
we know them, yeah. If we
Yeah.
can, I always get a kick when somebody writes in and says, "Oh no, this piece was definitely not done by such and such." And I said, "Well, the artist is the guy that gave me that information." So
Well, we like to
it
be
scares
scholars.
you because what happens when these artists are not around, or for artists that passed away? Everybody had, they second guess everything, but many times these conspiracy theories are unfounded.
Well, I get it. There's a lot of them. For it doesn't matter if it's a particular artist or for a particular book. In the run, there's always things that collectors question because that's just the nature of the hobby.
Yeah. And not every artist wants their name mentioned as the consigner either. So it could
Mhm.
be that the artist is consigning as well.
All right, so what do we got here? We have a Dale Keown Hulk cover from issue 388.
Yeah, the Peter David run of Hulk is very memorable. I knew Peter before he ever wrote a story, when he was the assistant direct salesperson at Marvel. I dealt with him a couple of times. Super nice guy. And I couldn't have been happier when he started writing and immediately took off. So this is at the beginning of the Hulk run with Dale. Um, I think we have 3 different Keown covers in the sale. I know we have another Hulk cover And then we have a modern one, something like from 2012, and I was very surprised to see that modern work because his style is actually more fine lined, and then more detail. He continues to put in the detail. Is very different than most artists. Most artists at the age by 27, they're trying to prove who they are, and they're putting in everything possible to make their statement. But some of them burn out, and they get more minimal.
Yeah, well, that's a nice cover as well, inked by Bob McLeod.
Yeah. Now you're looking at it because they're both in the floor session. The other cover would be in the non-floor session.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they don't follow consecutively at the top.
Right. Yeah, that one's again. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a unique style as well. Great period.
Mm-hmm. Now we have another Ditko Spidey
Yeah,
here.
I think this is the last of the Ditko book pages. Even though not that we have, but of the ones that I put in, we have several pages from Spider-Man stories. So this is a great one with the Masters of Menace. They were from the Circus of Crime, and you have here Princess Python.
Yeah, those 3 panels in the middle with her trying to seduce him is pretty.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, that's it's a 21 now, so that's got a ways to go.
I don't know of any Ditko pages that are not going to go for 100K.
Not anymore.
And then speaking of eye-opening images, as far as a modern age cover, this is one of the most recognizable, very celebrated cover. Where those are all little tiny bats that make up the Joker's eyes and figure. But I can't tell you how many people have asked me about this cover.
I mean, what are they asking? As far as
that's a great cover. I love that cover. Everybody, I can't believe you got that cover. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I did a quick check. It certainly will be the highest priced cover by Jock, in any auction, any public auction.
Yeah.
So,
what's it at already?
Where is it? Yeah. 99,000 with the juice. Prior to that, his $7.99 cover went for $7,200 in 2021 at Heritage. So, yeah, that's a leap. But again, it's a striking image. I mean, I was, I don't read the book, but I remember seeing this cover image in lots and lots of media outlets when it came out.
Well, the comic book even sells for not for a huge amount of money, but for a modern book, it really sells for a premium. People really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Jock, of course, I think his real name is Mark Simpson, right?
Yeah.
He's become a pillar of modern Batman family.
Well, it will be interesting to see where it winds up. We don't have too many modern covers crossing the 6-figure mark, that are done in the last 10 years or so. When was this one done? 2011. So it's 14 years old. And this is a very memorable Cluedo cover, right? Or is it was it published? I mean, I know it's
yeah.
What was it used in?
The cover of Marvel's Epic Illustrated number 4.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, was it last auction we had the Barry Windsor Smith Conan piece, the full color piece,
mm-hmm.
and this follows it. But I mean, look at the work Mike did on this. I mean, this is just beautiful. Very classic colors. His use of watercolor and just beautiful. And it's unmistakable.
Yeah, I love the amount of detail in the piece. Like he's drawing every coin. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
yeah, so that's at 30. But yeah, this is a
and
beautiful.
exactly here now catalog it. No matter where you look on this piece, there's a lovely, intriguing, and engaging detail in every little corner, everywhere you look. It's in the studio book. Gorgeous. Thank you. I mean, thank you for pointing out it's in the studio book, not that it's gorgeous.
Yeah, but as I assume was there another clue? I thought maybe you're right. Maybe not it's later in the auction.
Yeah.
All right. Now here, look, you said it earlier. Here's a Zeck cap cover with Spider-Man as well and Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Issue 265. 82. A little bit of Zipatone on there. Nothing wrong with that.
Spider-Man and Nick Fury can't help Captain America. Want to bet? Zeck pulls out all the stops for this Kirby-inspired cover. I asked Alberto if I've never taken a consignment from him, so he was very nice to deal with. And I said, "Do you want me to mention your name?" And he goes, "Sure, why not?" I said, "Okay."
There you go. Alberto says it's way too low. Alberto.
Bid.
Yes. But this is from the wonderful era of the Columbia 10-speed bike that you had the opportunity to win. So everybody was buying comics in hopes of getting a new 10-speed bike. I was. I don't think I had no chance of winning, but yeah.
But either that or you had to buy some seeds in the back, and sell them to your grandmother.
Right. Exactly. Well, the world there's not enough Zeck in the world. I will say that. That's an absolute truth. And I hear he's enjoying his retirement.
Look how quick we jumped the shark here. Alberto's dumping all of his. No, he's not.
Oh, he's not. That's for sure. He is not becoming number one Nick Fury fan or number one Red Sonja fan. He will still always be the number one Cap fan. He is not. He's not dumping it.
I think he either made a purchase or was something that a grail came up that
he was. He was just traveling abroad as well. I mean, I don't suppose you saw Alberto when you were touring Europe or wherever you were at.
Oh, where was he?
I can't remember. But I think he was in Italy, actually.
Oh, Italy? No, I didn't know that. Oh, well, Lake Como, yeah.
No, he didn't. I know he didn't go there. He at least he didn't tell me he went there. I know he was doing some other things. I think work related. I could be wrong. But anyways, here you go. That's a very nice Zeck cover that we know Alberto has consigned to Heritage now. So he mentioned Kirby Machinery.
As you said, he's a very bright guy.
Yes. So here we have a Kirby Esposito Strange Tales cover, right? Look at that. That thing's awesome.
I followed up the one Nick Fury with the other, a twice up Kirby Strange Tale Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. cover. How often do these ever come up?
This is issue 149 from 66, so not too often.
No, this is after, they shifted Fury from, Sergeant Fury to Super Spy. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And of course, you have AIM and, everything that he became known for.
All right. Didn't AIM had something to do with MODOK getting created, I think, right? Or maybe the AIM scientists or something like that became MODOK. But yeah, no, I mean, AIM's just a nasty group and they've been around too long. Somebody's got to squash them out. But no, this is cool. Very, very cool to see. Nice Kirby piece.
Yeah, they don't turn up. This came from an old time collector that has held it for a long time.
All right, where are we going to from next? Oh, see, everybody had to buy this one just to find out what Jarvis was going to do. But this is issue 201, and of course, after a very memorable 200 issue for the Avengers, and so I don't know, it's a fun cover.
Yeah, and it's I love the fact that it's Perez inked by Austin. I mean, beautiful, fine inking by Terry. He's always masterful. He never fluffs a job.
Rich Cheney says they ran out of story ideas. No, they needed a pause after that big 200th issue.
Hey, everybody's now looking for George Perez Avengers cover. So Avengers art. So here's a cover, and it's got them all on it. It is what it is. Ooh, I'm not supposed to say that, but that's what it is. Nadia has warned me.
Nadia warned you about that?
Yeah. She says that's just a cop-out. You know everything behind these things.
That's right. You don't
say it is what it is.
You can define it, right? You don't need to generalize it.
But I'll just say, Joe, would you be mad at me if I pull it? Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus said he'd offer him 10,000 for it if he pulled it. And he said, "This is an eBay."
Like,
Marcus,
I think that's going to go for over 50K, 60K.
Well, there you go. We'll see.
Yeah. Look, there's no rhyme or reason, as I said earlier, about looking at the bids. It's really obviously if the bidding is high, that's one thing, but if it's low, it doesn't mean anything. You could have 20 bidders all don't want to tip their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And all it takes is 2 to get a huge price.
There you go. Now, a Preacher cover. We've seen a few of these over the years.
I didn't want to feature this one. I wanted to feature the next one. So if you go up to the top, but then I said, well, wait a minute. It is Preacher number 3. And, this is a very well-known cover, and it's one of the earliest covers, and the price is higher. So, okay, I give in to the maddening crowd.
Yeah, no, you picked the right one. I mean, early, was it more memorable? I can't say that, but clearly more desirable, at least at this time. So, no, I mean, these are, I think you're probably not going to have too many more of these out there. You're saving one for the last. Yeah. But that'll be nice to see because I don't follow the Preacher cover market, but I can actually find out right now. Like,
as we said, there was one person had 99% of them all.
Right.
And then he decided to move on to something else. But the opportunity was never there to have one. You know what happens with these things? They come out, the prices are up and down all over, and then they get absorbed into the market, and then boom. You always think, well, the market can't absorb. Believe me, it does.
Right. Well, I just did a search for the Preacher covers, and they've been all selling in the last 2 years, of course, and they've all done really well. The highest price one was sold in that April signature auction. That was to issue 26, and it went for almost 29,000.
Yeah, 30 grand, if I recall.
Yeah, so 4 covers have gone over 20.
Yeah.
So, but none this early. All of those were 19, cover 19, 56, 26, and 54. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see where that one winds up. Then Alex Saviuk, the Web of Spider-Man 101 cover.
Yeah, this was a last-minute substitution because the price is so high, I can't ignore it.
Right. I just saw Alex this weekend. I bet he'd he might he might wish he would have held on to this one. But I always loved Alex's work. I mean, he was so great when these books were being published, and looking back on it now, I can see what the storylines were fantastic, of course, but his work is just so good. And this is where's this one at? This is over $30,000 already, 37 with the buyer's premium. But yeah, this is great. When you get Jonah Jameson and as well. Yeah. I mean, man, oh man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, had to be had to be there.
Part 2 of 14. They knew going in how big that series was going to be.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, Alex Raymond, Flash Gordon Sunday.
This is a great Raymond. Prime period, the Witch Queen period. The Witch Queen ran from like April to October of 1935. There are some collectors that absolutely will only buy Raymond from this period. They feel the early ones doesn't have the lush brushwork, and the early ones, I should say, and then the later ones are more fine lined. But look at the inking on this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Just the work in the cloak here is phenomenal.
I mean, listen, generations of artists have been influenced by Alex Raymond in this period. It's just, I mean, Al Williamson, revered, Frazetta, revered this stuff. And then we're talking about comic artists, but I'm talking about even non-comic. Mm-hmm. George Lucas that's what he really wanted to do, was a Star Wars, a Flash Gordon movie, not Star Wars. When he was denied the rights, he renamed it Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Dale there with beautiful woman. You've got everything here. Great machine. Yeah.
Where's that at? Oh, okay, 11.
Yeah, that's going to be. This should sell for 50 to 100K. This piece I found intriguing. A friend of mine consigned it, but look at the number of characters in this. What a great thing to put up on the wall. It's beautiful. It's very large, and you've got the entire JLA and the Justice Society of America and the Justice League of America, one right on top of the other. I mean, it's beautiful, beautifully drawn.
Yeah, it's a wraparound cover, Pacheco with Reno inks, which was probably one of his better inkers, I think. And then it's beautiful.
DC's top 20 heroes all pictured in the same piece.
All right, now we have a little toplessness going on here, but it's Adam Hughes.
Yeah,
and it's isn't this this is from a Palmiotti? Well, I guess maybe not. It's Mad Cave Studios. I thought this was Palmiotti. Pop Kill #3 variant.
Adam Hughes provides a stunner for Dave Johnson and Jimmy Palmiotti's title about the dark dealings of two competing cola companies. So yeah, you're right.
There you go.
So I think it's fair to say this at OAX had a conversation, and so we got a consignment also from Adam.
Sweet.
Yeah,
well, that's good. Well, then, hey, wow, you were working the floor. That's great. I knew it. It was going to be a fun thing. Well, that's great.
The floor was working me. I don't know.
The floor was working. There was a lot of art on the floor for you to be worked by. So does that mean you'll be coming back in February 2026?
I'd like to, yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the weather.
Oh, it'll be warmer than when you were here in
Exactly.
January.
You screwed me last time. I don't know.
Hey, we were all screwed by the weather at OAX 2025, but yeah.
No, it was a great event. I mean, it was great. I mean, I'm sure you were thrilled, but I didn't. I
Oh
heard
no, the
nothing
event was
but
great.
rave.
The weather was the only downer for that weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, but that's cool. You never hear. I mean, we never hear of artists consigning work. It's usually like P. Craig Russell, consigning something they've had for a while, and it's cool to see Adam do this. I mean, it's a good way for him to kind of test the market a little bit, but maybe move something that I don't know why he would think he'd have a hard time moving it. Maybe just because it's a little bit of an obscure title, but hey, I don't know what I got an Adam Hughes hanging on the wall in my house. Not
Nice.
topless though.
Look at this. I saw him working Julie Bell at the show. Wow. Yeah, that was an odd thing. I knew Julie and Boris going back, way back. And
Hmm.
when we would started our own, at Christie's and our own, Boris used to consign all the time. Very
Really?
nice. Yeah.
Through All Star?
All Star and before at Christie's.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the consignments ended. I called him up and I said, what, Boris, what's going on? He says, Joe, I call you up and I ask you what something is worth. And so like I'd say, this painting would sell for $16,000. He had a guy in Japan, I believe it was, that no matter what the price was, would pay double. So for years, that person was buying all of these Boris and Julie covers, paintings, and that's why you didn't see much coming on the market. And then all of a sudden, he went away. And so when I saw Julie, I said, I don't know if you remember. She said, oh, of course I remember you. Yeah, well, and then she wanted to talk about the good old days and talk about Frazetta and talk about Boris and all sorts. So we had a very, very nice, lengthy conversation. And yeah, Sarah Jane then went to visit her, and
Hmm.
hopefully we'll be doing some stuff. And her son was there, Dave, right?
Oh yeah, Columbo
And
it was cool to have them together, right? I mean,
yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Well, this is well, that's awesome. And so Sarah Jane went to visit them as well. So
Yeah,
we'll be seeing some interesting consignments coming out of them to Heritage. No, hey, it's always good to see unearth artworks like that, however you can.
and she had a beautiful display at the show.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, we yeah, they both exhibit at IX all the time, but they're typically on different floors, and so they were so happy to actually get to exhibit together, with each other's work side by side, and we're really pleased with that. And so it's cool to have that experience. Kazar did a great job organizing the whole IX room, and really just making making everybody inside of it feel comfortable, and all the collectors feel comfortable going in there. I mean, there was a lot of art that was sold in that room, which was very gratifying.
I can't compete with HA's buying power. I guess I'm out. Oh yeah,
They
I
didn't
didn't
buy
buy a
it.
single thing. What do you mean? I didn't buy anything. People want to
Marcus likes to
consign,
talk.
that's fine, but
You're not out at OEX. You need to come out and throw some your own muscle and buying power around on the floor, Marcus.
artists will always sell
Just a request.
for cash. There'll always be something there for them for cash.
Of course.
Yeah,
So here you go. An FF splash by Lee and Williams. I mean,
yeah. There's
you don't see a lot of FF work from that run of theirs, but here you get a really nice splash page.
exactly. And if you go up, there's Superboy by Jim Lee and Superman by. We have a wide array of Jim Lee art in this sale. Yeah. On this, the FF Face the Mole Man. This is the opening title splash of the second issue of the Heroes Reborn event. This is after Lee returns to Marvel with the new vision for the FF after leaving Image.
Well, pretty cool. I mean, you get some nice trading card art too from Starjammers and the Imperial Guard sets. That's awesome.
No.
I like that one. I'm gonna load that one up and track it. I'm curious to see where that one will go.
You should put in a bid of $600. See what happens.
On some of these, yeah, I could do that. I'm wandering. I'm not. I'm just curious. Very curious.
Wandering.
Let's see here. Oh, here. So here's one of the Wallywood Daredevil 8 pages with Stiltman on it.
Now, all of the pages that are in the sale, both from 8 and 5, never been on the market. And, you know, I mean, these things were so rare before we just started getting them a few years ago. It was unbelievable. I'm sure everybody's aware, you know, Daredevil was being drawn by Joe Orlando in the beginning, and then other people, and then you know, Stan Wallywood Stan hires Wallywood and puts him on the title. And Wood immediately wants to redesign the costume using his you know, signature inking style, and you know, the result is the Daredevil we know today.
Mm-hmm. There's one of the other pages from the book. That's cool. All right. Now, Al Milgrom and Steve Leialoha.
Yeah, I'll buddy Al.
Steve was at Heroes this past weekend, too. I've always loved Steve's work.
Oh, he's such a nice guy, Steve.
Yeah.
He's always, for decades and decades, would always come over to, you know, no matter what convention it was. He was at the show, he'd come over, say hello. Couldn't be nicer. And a professional, you know. I never heard a bad word.
Nope. No, not at all. Very nice man and super, super talented. Now, this is from Secret Wars 2, issue 9 cover from 1986.
Yeah.
Plenty of Marvel heroes on this one.
Yeah. Again, the Secret Wars, you know, series, and you know, Milgrom is hot. Seems every sale, his prices go up, and more and more people, and these things are all coming out on the market for the first time. So, yeah.
No, you guys you have done him well by, you know, taking care of his art sales. I mean, they've done fantastic. I mean, come on, he got to work with we got Simonson Thorpe pages, right? We get you know, you name it, there's things that you wouldn't expect. It just shows you the breadth of work that he did in his career and continues to do. His con sketches are still great. I mean, you know, Al's got it. He's, you know, but he's a pro, and so yeah, it's just cool to see this piece.
Yeah, and people, and you know, if you ever have the chance to speak to him, I mean, you know, he was an editor, writer. He affected the careers of a lot of different people. Yeah, he's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to Marvel and DC. And you know, he knew so many of the different professionals. That's a great thing about inkers. They got to, you know, there's such a breadth of people they deal with. You know, Kirby, I don't know if Kirby ever met, you know, half the people that inked them.
Right.
I say that nicely, half. I mean, yeah, he submitted his pages, and everybody else worked out of the office, where the inkers couldn't wait to meet the, you know, they couldn't wait to get their hands on a Kirby piece, but they rarely got to meet the person.
Yeah, Milgrom would be a fun interview. I'll have to see if I can get his contact info and do that. Him, who was at Heroes this past weekend, Carl Potts. He'd be an interesting guy to interview because he certainly advanced a lot of creators' careers in his time in comics as well. And he got his start in the late '60s, early '70s. So yeah.
Well, Milgrom will tell you a great story of how he got involved in comics. You know, there were several guys all came out of Detroit. They went to school together. So Rich Buckler, Terry Austin, Milgrom, Starling,
right?
all went to school together, all knew each other in Detroit. And then I believe it was Starling was the first guy that got a job, out east. And he brought along Buckler, and then brought along Milgrom, and then they brought along Terry, and then even there was another guy that went to school with them, Tom Tataranowitz, who didn't become a comic book artist but became an animator. Later worked on Fire and Ice with Frank Frazetta. Had his own studio for quite a number of years. Biker Men from Mars and all Biker Mice from Mars, I should say, and did all the Marvel animated series on TV and stuff like that. But they all came out of the same school and all knew each other. Okay. Anyway,
I'm making a note. I'm going to try to get Al on the show sometime.
Yeah.
So, again, there's some Perez, New Teen Titans work.
This is the issue where Deathstroke first appeared.
This is from issue 2.
Yep. So I had to include it. The price is reflecting that.
There you go, 22,000 right now without the premium.
Yeah. So on this page, Slade Wilson joins Ravager, Slade's son. The scene also features Robert and Starfire, Changeling, Cyborg, Kid Flash, and Wonder Girl. So typical George Perez, doesn't hold anything back. Had to do all those little windows in all those buildings in that top panel. Tell me.
Yeah, we could contrast this to that Ditko Spidey Splash where everything was, well, we won't, but it's not the same. George made sure he wanted to draw every window and every shade.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and Tangal Zinks is really nice on this as well.
Yeah.
Well, historic pages, first appearances. I hear it's a thing.
Yeah.
Buying comic art these days.
That's news to me.
So this is this is a joy to see, right? I mean, come on, Schomburg, piece, and I mean, look at that. That's just awesome.
This is now Halpern owns it. The cover of Human Torch 16, the Golden Age cover. Schomburg did this pose, did it for Timely. He did it for Harvey. There's an all new cover that looks just like this. And then when Roy Thomas found Schomburg and asked him to work there, he does this, and this is a real throwback cover. I mean, look at that. This is, this looks right out of the Golden Age.
It does. So, yeah, this is from 77, of course. So, 20 years after the fact. But
yeah,
I mean, it's classic. He still had the same style. I mean, this is awesome. I really like this.
This is the only comic book work he did after 1951.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Shoot.
And he did very, even in his prime, he didn't do interiors. He did the covers. That's what Joe Simon is the guy that found Alex Schomburg. And when he saw his artwork, when Schomburg came up to meet him, he was so impressed with his level of detail and how clean his work was that he started assigning him covers. And of course, the books immediately started selling because he throw everything in the kitchen sink on those covers.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most recognizable artists of the Golden Age and influential, and yet he really wasn't a quote unquote storyteller as far as interior pages, but he was just too valuable doing covers. He was the like when Neil started doing, certain artists, that's their forte.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Norman Rockwell. His covers sold.
And Schomburg did a lot of nice recreations.
Yeah.
later in life, right? I mean, there were a lot of his out there, and they were always fantastic in color. He didn't he do the Overstreet Guide cover once,
He did.
even twice?
Yeah.
I think that was like that might have been the first Overstreet Guide I ever had was
Yeah.
his, and it was just too cool.
Yeah. And I mean, beautiful. Yeah,
All
he
right.
did it for a collector's bookstore back at Malcolm Willits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay, Rich Buck, another guy we just mentioned from that Detroit school, Rich Buckler.
So
And
this
here's
is
another
Thor.
very recognizable 1973 Buckler cover.
Issue 214, Giacoya Inks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, he didn't waste too much time. He's out. He got out to he got some Marvel work early on. After Starlin got him out there.
He was an interesting guy. Al Milgrom has a lot of stories about Rich Buckler. Oh my God.
All right, well, more the reason I'm reaching out to Al one way or another. We're
Yeah.
gonna get
Okay.
him on the channel. Uh, let's see. What do we got here?
Romita Jr., Jim Mooney, The Amazing Spider-Man 67, another Mysterio.
Look at that.
Mysterio's all over the sale.
Yeah, guys, that first panel's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's nice. All right. So this is 67,
Yeah.
and
And
then
at the bottom of the page, you got the Stacys, George Stacy, his daughter Gwen, of course.
nice.
He didn't have many scenes in their home.
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Sweet Page. Both Tim and Tom both believe that it is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then Mike Mignola, you get a Hellboy in Hell cover from 2020.
Yeah.
And I know there's a few Hellboy pages in here that
Did you ever see the documentary on Mignola?
I did actually. Yeah, the one that's up on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one a lot.
That's the way I remember him back in the day. A young looking kid with those big glasses. He looks very different, but yeah, it really does a great job of explaining how his whole style evolved. And, once he turned that corner and started writing, he was very reluctant to write. And then all of a sudden he could write, and then he could fit everything to his style, and it all came together. And he realized that he wasn't drawing for anybody else; he was just doing it for himself. And next thing you know,
That's usually when lightning strikes, but
yeah,
it's true. I mean, this is a fantastic cover. Even when Rich Danny said great posing, right? I mean, there's a reason why his work is so powerful. I mean, he just knows how to. His compositions are great. Hellboy was just a perfect vehicle for him to kind of show off his talents. Manipulating, uh, light sources, and I mean, the coloring on these pieces were so memorable.
right,
Artistically, the book just oozed, just talent, and just a style that we hadn't seen before, on all levels. Even the way they were printed, the way they handled type on the books. I mean, just everything about Mignola's Hellboy is striking.
and people like Guillermo del Toro and so many other people were influenced. They were readers of Mike's work. They adore his artwork. Um, and he's a nice guy. He's a great guy.
True,
We're
and
going
there
to
are.
be selling stuff from his collection.
Right. I mean, seeing there's some early pages in there too. I'm not going to click on them, but like, the Corpse in the Iron Shoes. This is from '96. I mean, there's some really nice pages by
Yeah.
Mignola in this set. I think this one might be my favorite. But I'm still not going to click on it, but that's the one I think a lot of people are going to be interested in, just from the period and the way he's drawing Hellboy there. I thought that was fantastic, man. All right, where are we going to next? We are going to check out another Jim Lee. So this is an Uncanny X-Men page, issue 275.
You got to, if you have a Jim Lee X-Men page, you got to include it.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
And this one's just absolutely beautiful. Lots of the team in this one, and
yeah.
Oh man,
this is a panel page where he, this is not a single figure panel. You know what I mean? He did a lot of work here. A lot of figures, a lot of time went into this, and of course, Scott did a wonderful job inking this page.
Yeah, you get Starjammers, you get some Imperial Guard. Yeah, this is really nice. So it's at 17.5 right now. No Cosmic Odyssey in this one though, Alberto, I don't believe. But anyways, yes, this is
enjoying the Starjammers. The page is from the double-sized giant issue that finds the mutants in the middle of the Civil War. We see Storm, Jubilee, Gambit, Forge, Banshee, Starjammer, Formless Shield, Leandra, on and on. Too much to mention.
Exactly. That's a good one. Even without Cyclops not being here.
Well, nobody noticed that.
Oh man, and there's so much Buscema Conan out there, right? I mean, they're just interiors and covers and stuff, but he's just so darn good. And I think you have a few Conan pieces in this auction by.
Yeah,
this is the cover.
We have a lot of Buscema, and we even have the Buscema FF. Was it 120 cover?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, there's. Hey, listen, John was the master of anatomy. Reed Crandall was the guy that everybody mimicked in the Golden Age because of his anatomy, and Buscema was the guy in the Silver Age. Very different than Adams, but just as powerful.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I'd go back to Rich Danny's comment from a few minutes ago from the Mcnola cover. You can say great posing on this. I mean, that's one of the strengths of this piece. Along with just wonderful Buscema work on this thing. It's stunning.
The composition is it's very unique.
Yeah, he might have learned a thing or two about Frazetta composition.
Exactly.
But when you look at his line work, he's more Kubert than Frazetta, but it's fine. I mean, it just works. It's more fluid. I love it. Then you just mentioned Neil Adams, and then here we go.
Yeah.
We got Neil Adams Green.
We're gonna have a page from Neil Adams' Green Lantern series. Featuring a large image of Green Lantern. You gotta include it. I mean, look at that. Again, here's a page. Sometimes I say you got to that's the page you put up on the wall, and there's no having to explain what it is.
No, agreed. That image right there is just so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's Giordano inks too. Everybody. I mean, he did such a good job inking Neil, but man, oh man, that's great.
And Denny O'Neil storylines, this is what changed comics forever after that.
Mm-hmm. 55 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Harriman.
We've got 3 Harriman Sundays in the
really. Yeah. No, I didn't get to the Harriman section of the auction, but
so I picked this one. This is Joe Stork attempting to deliver a baby. Usually frustrated by Crazy Cat. Strip shows the intended react to a stork on their roof and features some of the great puns in the names: Phlegm, Ingo, Conga, on and on. But a classic. What is this? A 1922, and each of the 3 are are indicative of the style of as he evolved.
Yep. We don't get the brick.
Everybody in it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the brick's not thrown, but it is there.
Yeah.
It's about to be thrown. Yeah, that's nice. There you go. I'll check those out later. I like Hillerman's work a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Gil Kane, Amazing Spider-Man 102 splash, just super dramatic. I love the heavy inks on this by Giacoya. Yeah, what's not to love about this one? The six-armed Spidey, of course, is it's a classic for many people.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kane doesn't skimp. He puts in the building. He sometimes didn't like doing all the super detail because he was notoriously late on his work. But the earlier pages in a book had more detail than the later pages when he was running behind on deadlines. But here this took a lot. That kind of work. This takes a lot of work. You have to use a ruler and on and on. And then he got Giacoya to ink it.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich Denny's agreed with you. He said no cop-outs on the background.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, I believe, splash page is they're racing towards Morbius, the living vampire who only debuted in the previous issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's not in this page, but yeah, part of that storyline.
Oh, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, what is that at? 27.5 with the buyer's premium.
See, again, $27,000 for Gil Kane. Yeah,
right. Well, that's why I going through everything today was interesting because I know that everybody's expecting a lot of special numbers to come out of this one, and you see stuff like this and you just know it. There's a lot of people kind of holding back, probably figuring out which pieces they're going to go for, and I'll be watching live to see where these pieces wind up.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is what do we got? Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Jim Valentino. We don't.
Another of the guys that left for Image. So you got an early Guardians of the Galaxy cover. This is 1991, which was at the prime period for all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
McFarlane, Lee, Liefeld. We've covered a whole bunch of them. And then they leave in 1992 to form Image.
Right. Tom Morgan inks on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So then let's see.
It's a nice opportunity to have a Valentino piece. Bogdanov, look at that.
Yeah, DPS from issue 19 of Man of Steel.
Yeah,
that's great. Oh, and this one was written by Louise Simonson. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good page.
Yeah, if you want both Superman and Doomsday, you've got your page right here.
Mm-hmm. And the current price on this one is $62.50, Tim. $7,500 with the buyer's premium. In Doomsday, never saw a dentist. Nope. Was not concerned about his hygiene.
Maybe he did. That's how he got that.
It was a bad dentist, right? Exactly. Oh man! All right, what do we got next? We have a Sandman 12 page.
Yeah, just to change it up again.
Yep. Chalo.
This one has really nice content. Dream, Morpheus as he's speaking to Lita, and this is the tie-in to the Wonder Woman Neil Gaiman. What are you going to say?
Right.
I think that I think the next season of Sandman, I think yesterday I just saw that it's coming out during the summer.
Yeah, I think in August.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, even Tom said the same thing. Amazing inks on this one. Yeah, that makes you think. It's just, it's really well done. And it's Malcolm Jones was the inker on that one.
Beautiful page.
Yep. And you have a few other pieces by Chris. That's Bisley. That one's by Chris. I think there was wasn't there like an X-Men piece in there? I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But two more pieces here. We got Wally Wood, and this is from Mad 9.
Yeah, it's more about, while this is Wally Wood, it's more about the fact that you got a complete 8-page story from Mad, number 9. And then, like I said, if you go up to you probably won't find it because it would be under Wally Wood, but we also have the complete story from Ping Pong, which is the takeoff of King Kong. And then there's a ton of other Mad and EC artwork in the sale.
I won't be able to find it, but I saw that the King Kong piece. The first page on that thing was fantastic. No, I'm with you on that totally. Yep. But anyway, so complete story by Wood, and it's from Mad 9.
Yeah.
Little Orphan.
For those that don't know, everybody always says Kurtzman's original vision for Mad was to parody the comic strip market, which was so popular at the time. That's why so many of the early stories had things like Little Orphan Annie and, things like that, Mickey Mouse, different comic strips. Then they expanded into comic books. It really took off when they did the Superman parody. And then eventually it really was Al Feldstein that after he took over, that expanded into more pop culture, television and reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of nice
and a ton of work, Wally Wood, in that story. I mean, there's no cut corners.
Nope. Well, here we go. We have the last of your picks here, and it was the Killraven cover that you mentioned earlier by P. Craig Russell.
I added it because it was doing so well, and it is, this is based on the War of the Worlds and the Martians.
And this is 75. So
yeah.
Now, who was it? This is all Craig on this one, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Craig on Craig. Early work by him, but it really doesn't have the super detailed ink work of later, but this is the stuff he likes doing. He wasn't really a costume superhero guy. He loved sci-fi and fantasy.
Well, that's good. And Tim asked if we had any Superman. We did. We had that one Doomsday DPS earlier, Tim.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also what's his name? I said Jim Lee Superman and Superboy.
There was I know there was a Jim Lee Superman page in the set too.
Yeah.
Here, I picked 3 more. I'll just show my 3 off, and then we can.
This is a first. You've never put something in.
I know. And again, I'm not showing the one I bid on or the 2 I bid on actually today, but I just picked these because I thought they were really nice. This first one was the Buscema Klein Avengers Splash, and I really loved it because of just the lettering on the title page. Right, it's so striking, and you get Hawkeye, Black Knight. I love the image, and I picked another one for I actually was going to pick another title page because of the lettering on it.
It's a beautiful composition.
Isn't it great?
Oh yeah.
George Klein inks on this one. I just thought it was awesome. I mean, it Doesn't matter, is it a super example, but it's a great one. I like the more I'm looking at it, I love it. I would love to own it. It's just so awesome. That's
How
something
much is that out? That shouldn't be that.
right. It's only at 3,600 right now.
Yeah, for Buscema Splash.
Yeah, and then here I picked this Kirby Sinat Silver Surfer graphic novel page.
We had a really great page from the Surfer graphic novel, the one where the Surfer confronts Galactus.
Yeah.
And he explains the whole thing of why you can't destroy the Earth, and then he Galactus gives him what I thought was one of the great metaphors ever in comics. He says, when humans walk, do they how much thought do they give when they kill an ant? You're telling me I should worry about these humans? Obviously, the comparison.
It makes sense to me. Hey, I think Galactus should just come through and stomp. Well, that's that. Well, I won't go there. But anyway, I thought this was awesome. I mean, it's half you know car engine, twice Kirby machinery. You name it. I just think that this page just screams.
You wonder what goes through Jack Kirby's mind, where he would prefer to draw that amount of detail in a machine,
right,
as opposed to where he could draw anything. And because this is so much work.
Yeah, but it's it's just so awesome. And so I could not pick this thing because I love the machinery on this one.
Yeah.
Then here I knew people would enjoy. We've talked about Cyclops a lot, so here you go. I did not bid on this one, though. I thought it would have been good. Cyclops fighting Storm in the Danger Room. This is before Storm beat Cyclops, of course, to take over leadership of the X-Men. But it's Cockrum from issue 154, and there you have it. I wanted to end on that because there's not enough Dave Cockrum X-Men artwork in the world.
Hey, that it's a great sale when you can overlook. I mean, there's not, as we said, there's 900 pieces. There's probably 250 super highlights that would be highlights in any other sale. We could go on forever, but that's why, and you could talk about the X-Men. You could do, an hour and a half just on X-Men in this.
I know. I searched on just X-Men earlier. Yeah. And there's wide check inks on this one too. I loved his inking throughout this period too. But anyways, there is just, like I said, there was really like no average page, which is, you can go through an auction and usually say, like a third of them are good, but they're not great, or not phenomenal. 2/3, there's just so much here that is just like really good. And that's why, we're the guys who are going to be doing the recap next week, we're all excited to be doing it because we're even kind of mixing it up a little bit. We're doing it on Thursday during the CAF update, and the plan was just to, we've got a couple wrinkles that we're throwing into it because they're all they're all bidding on stuff, and now I can actually say I'm bidding on stuff too.
Who's doing it this time?
I think, let's see, who is it? I reached out to Dino, Dan Poddick. Berkey said he was going to do it. I mean, he's always a hit or miss, but he said he's going to do it. And then Barucci's going to do it. And there was one other person I wanted to shoot an email out to. I forgot because I was at Heroes, but I might reach out to them and see if we can get them in there as well. But rather than being a CAF update, there'll be a little CAF update, but it's primarily going to be a conversation about, because that's the third, the day before the holidays. So I wanted to kind of change the tone of the Thursday show a little bit just for that. Albert would be fun, but Albert hasn't done one in a while. Maybe I'll ask Albert.
All over the place. He was in Japan for a month. I met him in Paris twice. He did Lake Como. He had just gotten back from Japan, which I couldn't believe. He got back from Japan, flew to, I forgot where, then went back home again, then back to Europe. Unbelievable.
Hey,
it was very odd. We went out to dinner. He calls me. He says, "I'm arriving this day. Do you want to go out to dinner?" We go out to dinner, and we're talking about different things. And then the next day, he says, well, I'm going to go out. We're going to sightsee with Jamie. And I said, all right, whatever. Nadia and I then go out for the day. We're walking across a bridge, and who's standing right on the bridge?
He was stalking you. Didn't you guys have lunch somewhere?
We totally not. I mean, and this was, I had taken a train to get to this place, so it was point enough on. So I said, have you ever been around here? He says, no. So next thing you know, we spend the whole day together.
But didn't you guys post on like Facebook or something? You guys went out to lunch or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, that's where we met. When I met him there, then we went out to dinner the day before. But then we met there, and then we went to lunch together. And
when you were out to eat, he slipped
I had a drink. Albert doesn't drink anymore.
Nadia's purse, and he was able to track you down. That's what I'm thinking. But I'll ask Albert. You never know. He hasn't been on the show in a long time or on the channel. In gosh, over a year. So he's due. I'll see if he's free. Yeah. But Joe, as always, these are fun and informative, and I think we all learned something while we get to look at some cool artwork that's going to be auctioned off. So
I appreciate everybody's enthusiasm and support. And as I always say at the end of these, if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me or your person at Heritage. I can always put you in touch as well, or take care of something. And if you're looking to purchase something and you want to pay for it with a consignment, the earlier you let me know, the more I can tell you how much we can advance against it and make arrangements. There are also extended payment plans that more and more people are taking advantage of. So, there's a lot of options.
Exactly. And your email's right there on the screen, joem@ha.com. Real easy to remember.
Yeah.
And Joe will take care of you, just like he's been taking care of Alberto. But yeah, so thanks, Joe. As always, it's a lot of fun. And are you going to be in San Diego this year?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Okay, because I know you.
If I can avoid it, I will.
Yeah.
I know you don't go there already signed off, so I could say.
Exactly. All right. Well,
you're going to San Diego?
I am.
Okay.
I'm having lunch with your boss while I'm there. We're going before the show starts. We're gonna go out on Wednesday, even before preview night. We're gonna have lunch together.
I don't know. You never know.
Haven't seen him in a while.
I don't know if right now I'm not planning to go, but you never know.
All right. Well, if you're there, we got to do something.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna go out there taking pictures of you having lunch with Albert, I need one too.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We'll invite you along.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, Joe. Well, you have a great evening, everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us and enjoying the conversation. And we'll be back at it tomorrow night. I've got Todd Sheffer will be joining me. He's got a fun collection, and he's not quite the professor that Derek Crabb is, but he's close. So should be a good conversation there. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow night.